Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a liar. It's the flimsy, unpredictable excuse that keeps you stuck. Every time you try to start a new habit, you rely on willpower, and every time, you fail. You're trying to solve a system problem with an emotional solution. I'm here to tell you that the secret to consistent success isn't feeling energized. It's about building a machine that doesn't need energy. In the next 5 minutes, I will show you exactly why willpower always fails and the simple, two-step framework you must use instead of relying on your mood. Most people believe that motivation is the key to success. They wait for that spark, that emotional high, that perfect moment when everything feels right, when energy is high and inspiration flows. But the truth is, that moment almost never comes. Motivation is like a flame. It burns bright for a while, but it fades quickly. One day you're ready to conquer the world, the next day you can't even get out of bed. That's why motivation fails. It depends on emotion, and emotions are unstable. You've probably felt it before. You watch a motivational video, your heart races, your mind floods with energy. You feel unstoppable for an hour, maybe a day. Then slowly that fire fades. Reality sets in. The bed feels comfortable again. The excuses start whispering again. That's not weakness, that's human nature. Willpower, too, is not infinite. It's a limited resource. You can force yourself for a while, to wake up early, to study, to work harder. But eventually your mind gets tired. Your willpower runs out, like a battery slowly draining with each decision you make. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is not about feelings. It's about commitment. It's doing what you said you'd do, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is not emotional. It's structural. It's built into your identity, not your mood. Motivation says, I feel like doing it. Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. Every successful person you admire didn't rely on bursts of motivation. They built systems of discipline. They didn't wait to feel ready. They acted when they weren't. That's the real secret. Consistency in the absence of excitement. Discipline doesn't need energy. It needs direction. It doesn't ask how you feel. It just asks what you promised. When you start living with discipline, something magical happens. You start trusting yourself again. You stop being the person who breaks promises to yourself. You become someone reliable, someone grounded, someone consistent. That's when progress begins. See, motivation gives you a push, but discipline gives you permanence. Motivation helps you start. Discipline helps you finish. One is emotional. The other is habitual. One fades. The other grows stronger. Think about a professional athlete. They don't wake up motivated every morning to train. Some days they feel tired, sore, uninspired. But they show up anyway. That's discipline. That's what separates amateurs from masters. Motivation is like the weather. It changes daily. Discipline is like the climate. It defines the long-term environment of your life. When you build discipline, you stop depending on temporary feelings. You start depending on structure, on rhythm, on identity. You stop saying, I hope I'll feel like it tomorrow. You start saying, I'll do it because that's who I am. Discipline is not punishment. It's freedom. It's the ability to do what you must, even when you don't want to. It's what frees you from regret. The undisciplined are slaves to their moods. The disciplined are masters of their future. Every dream requires a price, and that price is paid in daily effort. Most people want the reward, but not the repetition. They want results, but not routines. Discipline lives in the repetition. Every small choice compounds. Every early morning, every healthy meal, every hour spent in focus, it all adds up. When you choose discipline, you choose long-term peace over short-term pleasure. You choose strength over softness, growth over comfort. And comfort, my friend, is the silent killer of greatness. Motivation might get you started on Monday, but discipline carries you through the year. That's why willpower fails, because willpower relies on strength in the moment. Discipline removes the need for willpower. It replaces decision with habit. You no longer ask, should I? You simply do. True discipline is not loud. It's not glamorous. It's quiet, invisible, and consistent. It's built in the silence of daily choices, when no one is watching. It's in the moments you show up even when it's hard. And that's the paradox. People think discipline restricts you, but it's actually what sets you free. When you build discipline, you free yourself from procrastination, from guilt, from self-doubt. You free yourself from the endless loop of starting and stopping. Discipline is the bridge between goals and growth. It's what turns inspiration into transformation. Without it, even the best ideas remain dreams. Motivation feels good. It gives you a rush. It makes you believe that change is possible. But that's the problem. Motivation is just a feeling, and feelings are temporary. Your brain loves motivation because it releases dopamine, the same chemical that gives you pleasure from food, likes, or validation. It feels exciting to plan, to dream, to start something new, but dopamine fades fast. That's why motivation fades too. The problem isn't that you're lazy. The problem is that you're human. Your brain is wired to seek comfort and avoid pain. So when the initial excitement disappears, the mind starts looking for reasons to stop. It tells you, you've done enough. You can skip today. You'll do it tomorrow. And that's how most dreams die. Not in a single moment of failure, but in small moments of surrender. That's why relying on willpower alone doesn't work. Willpower is like a muscle. It gets tired. Every decision, every temptation, every distraction drains it. You can't fight the entire day using only willpower. It's not designed for that. Discipline, however, doesn't depend on how much strength you have left. It's a system that removes the need for choice. You decide once, and then the system decides for you every day. For example, if you decide to work out daily at 6 a.m., you don't wake up each morning asking yourself whether you feel like it. The decision is already made. That's discipline, reducing friction between intention and action. Discipline is not about being tough all the time. It's about designing your environment so that success becomes the easiest option. You don't fight your mind every day. You build routines that protect your purpose. That's why people who depend on motivation burn out. They start strong but lack systems. They wait for inspiration to strike. But high performers, they don't wait. They create an environment that forces them to move forward, whether they feel like it or not. Because when you remove the option of quitting, consistency becomes your default. You see, most people treat success like emotion, but it's actually a process. It's mechanical. It's built on repetition, not excitement. Every time you act without motivation, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. Every time you follow through despite fatigue, you rewire your brain to trust effort over feeling. It's not about passion every day. It's about purpose every day. Let's be honest, motivation feels good, but it's inconsistent. You can't build an empire on emotions. You can only build it on endurance. The most successful people in the world, whether they're athletes, artists, or entrepreneurs, understand this. They treat motivation like a visitor. It comes and goes. But discipline is family. It stays. When you start living with discipline, you stop waiting for the perfect time. You start creating the right conditions. You stop looking for motivation to show up. You show up yourself. That's when the shift happens. You start becoming dangerous, not in a violent way, but in a powerful way, because nothing can stop someone who acts regardless of how they feel. Motivation is emotional energy. Discipline is moral strength. One burns out quickly, the other builds character. Every time you choose discipline, you build a brick in the wall of your future. Every day you follow through, you add another. And slowly, brick by brick, you build something unshakable: confidence. Confidence doesn't come from achievement. It comes from consistency. When you show up daily, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. That's how you rebuild self-respect, through disciplined action. That's why people who chase motivation always feel insecure, because their progress depends on emotion. But people who live by discipline carry quiet confidence. They don't need to talk about it. They live it. So if you want to transform your life, stop chasing motivation and start building habits. Don't rely on energy, rely on structure. Make your routine so clear that emotion doesn't matter anymore. Discipline is not about working hard for a week. It's about showing up for a lifetime. Let's say you want to write a book, start a business, or get fit. You won't always feel excited. You won't always have inspiration. But if you build a system, 30 minutes of writing daily, 1 hour of workout, 2 hours of learning, and you stick to it, progress becomes inevitable. It's not glamorous, but it's real. Motivation builds dreams. Discipline builds reality. That's the quiet truth no one wants to hear. Because discipline is not fun. It's repetitive. It's sometimes boring. But that's what makes it powerful. Most people fail not because they can't, but because they quit too soon. They expect results after a few days of effort, but discipline teaches you patience.